Good Saturday morning, everybody, and it is the day, 2 days after Thanksgiving. I almost said Christmas, and a day after Black Friday. So I'm assuming that you had a good night's rest on Thursday because you ate lots of turkey and it put you to sleep, and football and all those other fun things that we do on Thursday. And then you went and did your Black Friday shopping. I don't Black Friday shop. I don't like it, and there's nothing I want that bad out there. So, but I hope you had fun. Well, I know a lot of people do that as a kind of a family thing and more of an adventure with family and friends to just go out and hang around and then go have lunch and go home and go to bed. So anyhow, we are here this morning with Stephanie Sanzone from eMortgage. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning, David. How are you?
I'm good. Did you do your Black Friday shopping?
I did. I was up at 5 a.m. and standing in lines, and it was not fun.
Okay. So really, Stephanie, this year you don't have to buy me anything, okay? But anyhow, so we are ready. We're going to talk about some down payment assistant things that are out there available. We're going to start with Ohio Heroes. And I'll let Stephanie introduce that a little bit, and then we'll have some questions for her.
Sure. Thank you, David. Every time I talk to a customer, they ask me what kind of options are out there for their down payment assistance. They hear about all these grants through the cities, through the states, and no one really has any information on how they can get assistance through the state of Ohio. So I wanted to talk about Ohio Heroes down payment assistance today. David, does that sound good to you?
That sounds really good to me. So
Good.
What do we have to do as a Ohio Hero? First of all, who qualifies for Ohio Hero?
Okay, if you are a veteran or an active duty military or on the reserves, if you're a police officer, a firefighter, or emergency medical technician or paramedic, or if you are a K through 12 teacher or a nurse. Also, if you teach college for 12 plus hours per semester or quarter, you could qualify for the Ohio Heroes. So basically, all of the heroes out there can get help with the down payment assistance.
So we have an active veteran. We have an active military personnel. Mm-hmm. How do they go about qualifying for this? What do they need to do with you to put this into effect?
Well, if they're active, they're going to show me pay stubs showing that they're active, or they're going to show me their W-2 and also their DD-214 since they would be active military. Well, that's actually for a veteran, but their military card is what they would show me. Okay,
so I'm active. I'm serving overseas right now. My spouse, I almost said wife, but spouse and now. So what can she... Can we put this together while I'm overseas and she apply?
Great question. I will get back to you on that. I'm sure we can put it together and we can get all his information. For him to sign on the loan, I'm not quite sure if we could send someone overseas to go sign. I know we do out of state, but not quite that far. So we would have to probably send the paperwork and have them notarized or there's workarounds for that.
So if they were stationed in Italy, you would gladly fly the papers over there?
I would love to, but that's not feasible.
Yeah. So that's something that we'll look into, and we will get an answer for you on that one. So now let's go to a veteran. We kind of answered a little bit of that, but let's talk about what a veteran would need to qualify for that and how that differs from the VA no down.
So the veteran would need their DD-214 to qualify for it. We go ahead and use that DD-214 information to pull that they are eligible and pull their eligibility through the VA. And then you can use it with the VA loan with no money down and use the money for closing costs, or you could use it with the VA loan and put some money down on the principal and use the rest for closing costs. There's not any chance that you're going to get money and put it in your pocket unless it's earnest money that you already paid or an appraisal that you already paid. There's chances that you could get a check back at closing.
Okay, so as a veteran, they could use it for closing costs or other.
Down payment assistance. They could put it on their principal of their house.
Okay, so that would be cool. So now the other heroes that we have, the military, or I'm sorry, the police, the firemen, the paramedics, what do they need to present you with?
They're just going to need their 30 days pay stubs, W-2s. That's going to verify that they're on the police force and that they're working. For the police, firemen, and emergency or paramedics, they would all just have me look at their pay stubs and W-2s.
Okay, school teachers, nurses, same thing, pretty much. Okay. So
now, if it's a nurse that just graduated and is starting a job, then I can take their offer letter and use that, and I can use the schooling as the last 2 or 3 years of employment.
Okay.
So that's good to know. Always hold on to those offer letters, especially if you're new and you're just starting out. You can still get the grant.
Well, that's a good thing to know, because most people just probably file them away or put them in file 13 or the round file and never think about them anymore. So it's a good thing to hang on to those offer letters. So
correct.
What other requirements are there as far as applying for that Ohio veteran or the Ohio Heroes?
So we would do the whole application like a normal loan, and I would register the loan with the OFA, which is Ohio Housing Finance Agency. At that point, when we do the register, we would lock in the rates. The rates are on the website, so we cannot buy down any rates. It is what the rate is the day that we registered. If the rate's lower, we can't change them the next day or next week. It's actually what it is when we register the loan. From there, Ohio Heroes or the OFA request 3 years, either transcripts or tax returns. That is very important because a lot of people don't have their tax returns for 3 years, so then we're going to have to request the transcripts and give it about a week or two to get those in. The person has to take the homebuyer education. It's actually free on the OFA's website, Ohio Housing Finance Agency's website. It's myohiohome.org. And the class, it takes about 20-30 minutes to do online, and then you take a little test at the end and you get a certificate saying that you passed, and then you email me that certificate.
So and that was my question. I was going to ask you about what they have to do, so that when they take that education, about how long is that going to take them to go through that? I know it's going to vary for each person, but basically we're looking at
20-30 minutes.
Okay.
It's not long at all.
Okay.
And it's all online.
Okay, and that's cool. And like you said, it is free, so that's a great process out there. And the again, anytime that you're applying for a loan, you want to be as upfront as possible, because it's going to get searched and we're going to know what you have. So any advice on that from you?
Yes. If there's any changes of employment, I need to know exact dates. I can't have any gaps unless they're explained. And I need to have 2 years history before there were any gaps. So a lot of people are like, well, I worked here, but I don't remember when, or I worked here, and I need that complete history of where and when people worked, just so that we can tell the story. Every single loan has to tell a story. The same with the bank statements and bank accounts. If you have deposits of cash, you have to explain them. The underwriter needs to see the whole entire story with every loan. So as much detail as possible during that pre-approval is what is going to make the loan successful and smooth flowing.
Yeah, and I know a lot of times when you get bank statements, there'll be 5 pages. Page 4 might be blank. And what happens to page 4 most of the time that's blank?
Most of the time it's thrown away. But a lot of people are getting their bank statements emailed to them. And at that point, we can ask for page 4 from the email or from the online We have a new account check that we verify statements, bank account information with, and I've been using that a lot lately to where we can actually go in and pull the statements and pull the information we need, and we don't have to bug the customers about the page 4 or the blank pages or something crossed out or something not making sense, because we see the whole history at that point. So it's kind of making the whole assets documentation smoother, and it's a good tool to use.
So why is the blank page important? There's nothing on it. It's
Right.
no big deal, right? So we don't care. But
Because if the underwriter sees page 1 through 4, they're going to want to see what's on page 4, even if it's blank. Because what if it isn't blank? Some banks, they aren't blank. So they need to see and verify that is either a blank page or there's something on it.
So it's interesting because I was watching a movie last night and the girl was having to write a story, and that's what this is. You're writing your story, and if it says there's 4 pages and that's not there, then a page is gone. So it's not just your bank statement; it's a story of what is happening in your life at this point, and they need to know all of those incidences, that what's going on. And sorry if it's not a good thing, they still need to see that. And if you leave it out, they're going to have that question of, what are you hiding from me? And you may not be hiding anything, but that's the first thing that they're going to think.
Correct. Everything has to tell a story.
Yeah, and it does tell a story. So we want the story to be complete as possible. So don't hide anything. Don't
leave anything out.
Yeah, it's not that you're hiding. You're just leaving it out because you don't think it's necessary. So, so what else?
And let me add to this Ohio Heroes program that we have through Ohio Housing Finance Agency. Now, we do have other programs. So if you're not an Ohio Hero, we have first-time homebuyer grants. We have veterans grants, and we have, which is the same as Ohio Heroes. And we have grants for grads. So if you're just graduating, then you could possibly qualify for a grant if you graduate in the last 48 months. So they go back pretty far. And then we have Next Home. So if you've already owned a home and like you're getting a divorce and you need to buy a new home, but you've owned a home in the last 3 years, you could qualify for Next Home grants. I did one of those a couple months ago because of the person that got a divorce and wanted to move and get a new home. But the first-time home buyers, they also could be eligible for the Ohio Hero or for the grant through OFA.
So I'm looking at this paper here that's in front of me, and it says licensed or certified direct patient caregiver. What is that?
So
is that like a home health care person?
It could be a home health care person as long as you're in the medical field and you're taking care of patients or customers. You can't work in the office in the medical field. Actually, I got that answer this morning when I asked first thing. And so you have to actually be a direct caregiver, like a nurse or somewhere along those lines.
Licensed or certified. So
Right.
Okay, so we're at our break time. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back, and we will talk about the
Good Neighbor Next Door program.
Yep. So we'll see you in a little bit.